Right, thank you, colleagues. I'm substituting for Councillor Morley as chair today. Can I welcome you all here for the meeting of the 11th of September operational services. So we'll start off with live stream announcement. I wonder which chair actually knows this off word by word, but good evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of Gravesham Borough Council's Operational Services Cabinet Committee. I intend to go through some housekeeping matters. This meeting is being streamed live via YouTube and recorded. The recording will be uploaded to YouTube within 2 working days, where it can be accessed by everyone. Members, please use the microphone in front of you when talking. Ensure that you turn your microphone off once you finish speaking. Another member or officer will not be able to speak if your microphone is still on. Please note the Council's visual equipment may on some occasions focus on or near the public gallery area. Therefore, those in attendance at this meeting may be filmed or recorded. Attendance at this meeting signifies your agreement to this. If, as a member of public, you do not wish to be filmed or recorded, please inform a council staff member in attendance, and we will try to assist where reasonably possible. On hearing the fire alarm, we ask all attendees to immediately evacuate the building. Please evacuate via the nearest fire exits and make your way to Community Square outside the main reception doors. Thank you for that. Okay, apologies for absence.
Thank you, Chair. We've received an apology from Councillor Morley with Councillor Burden as substitute.
Thank you. Brings us on to the minutes of Monday, the 2nd of June. Are they agreed? Thank you. I will sign them in a moment. Declarations of interest. I can't believe there are any. No. Consider whether any item in Part A, whatever. No. Review of taxi tariff. Mark or Emily?
Thank you, Chair. So the Local Government Miscellaneous Provisions Act of 1976 permits a local authority to set their tariff for licensed hackney carriage vehicles. There are primarily 2 elements to a fare: the flag, which is the amount that shows on the meter at the start of a journey and therefore the very minimum fare that would be payable, and then the yardage, which dictates the rate at which the fare increases with distance. So whereby the fare increases the more rapidly as the distance of the yardage decreases. So Gravesham Borough Council set a tariff for our taxi or hackney carriage drivers, which represents the maximum that can be charged, meaning that should a driver wish to charge less than displayed on the meter at the end of the journey, they can. The taxi tariff is reviewed biannually, and back in 2019, the council adopted that the flag would be in multiples of 20 at all times, and to alternate the consultation between the flag and the yardage. So in 2023, the yardage was consulted upon and then amended, so therefore it is the year of the flag. Section 2 of the report, you'll find our proposed options. These options have been shared with our local taxi association, and they have not provided any further options that they would like added to this consultation. So we are proposing to contact all licensed hackney carriage drivers by email, requesting that they complete an online questionnaire, which will provide them with the options for the flag to choose from and a comments box to provide their reasonings for their choice. The consultation will be open for a 4-week period, and the results will then be brought back to this committee in November. So I'm asking for you to consider the proposed options of the tariff review, consider the proposed consultation methodology, and instruct me accordingly on what you would like me, if you'd like me to go ahead with those. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. So if we concentrate then on item 2, which is proposal for consultation, if I understand right, we will go out on those series of proposals from £3 to £2.80, a decrease. And there'll be a 4-week period until 15th of November. And at some point, we will have results of a consultation and consider them as per normal. Any questions? Oh, come on. Somebody. John?
No.
Okay. Right. So can I put that proposal forward and recommendation forward for the proposed options, tariff review, consultation methodology, and instruct the licensing department to consult? Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. This could be a rather short meeting. Thank you. That brings us on to agenda item 7, which is charging for removal and return of abandoned shopping trolleys. Joel.
Thank you, Chair. The report, that's agenda item 7 in the reports pack, proposes the introduction of a charge for the removal and return of abandoned shopping trolleys, and the officer recommendation is that members support the instigation of a consultation with relevant stakeholders on the proposal. To give some background, across the borough there are several retailers who provide shopping trolleys for customers to use, but in increasing numbers, the usage of trolleys is being abused by the customers, and trolleys are being found left on street corners. This has a visual impact on the borough and is also the subject of complaints from residents. They not only look unsightly, but they can be left on roads and pavements, causing a hazard to users of the public highway. Abandoned trolleys can also attract antisocial behaviour, such as fly tipping, and generally detract from the quality of the local environment. At the moment, there is an expectation that the council will collect these trolleys from street corners and return them to the shops, which puts an added pressure on our street cleansing team. The council can opt to adopt statutory powers that would enable the council to collect abandoned shopping and luggage trolleys from land open to the public, return them to the owner, and recover the council's reasonable costs for doing so. In recent years, several councils across the country have introduced charges for this service, and by introducing a charge, it will also influence retailers to take action to keep their trolleys on site rather than allowing them to leave their premises. On average, the council collects and returns around 3 trolleys per week, which is time consuming and uses fuel and has a financial cost to the council. And crucially, returning abandoned shopping trolleys diverts street cleansing operatives from delivering key services to residents of the borough. Section 2 of the report outlines the legal basis for the proposal, and Section 3 outlines the charging structure used by a number of other local authorities across the country. The fees applied range between £50 and £100 for the collection of the trolley and £33 to £100 for returning each trolley. For context, a new shopping trolley costs retailers between £150 and £200. Section 4 of the report outlines our proposal. In essence, the council would be required to conduct a formal 90-day consultation with persons and representatives who appear to the council to be affected by the introduction of this resolution. Letters would be sent to all supermarkets locally and to their head offices, outlets and other representative bodies such as the British Retail Consortium, Association of Town Centre Managers and Association of Convenience Stores. We would also open the consultation to local residents, the local police and to the Environment Agency. After the 90-day consultation period, we can then feed back to this committee and then decide whether to bring the proposal forward to Cabinet to adopt Schedule 4 of the Environmental Protection Act 1990, which provides us with the power to remove the trolleys. Notice of passing the resolution, if we were to go ahead, would need to then be circulated in a newspaper circulating within the borough. We also intend to support retailers by providing signage that could be displayed in their car parks, and we can also put up signage in hotspot locations where trolleys are often left, encouraging users to return their trolleys. So we're providing support to supermarkets. Section 5 outlines our proposal for a voluntary scheme whereby retailers would sign up to give their details and opt to be notified when one of their abandoned trolleys is found within the borough. They would then have until 5 p.m. the next working day to remove the trolley, and then would need to notify the council when it has been removed. Any retailers who decide not to join the voluntary scheme or do not remove their trolley by the deadline would then be charged in line with our policy under the relevant national legislation. We feel that a voluntary scheme could help us to work with responsible retailers and reduce the number of trolleys abandoned and unclaimed within the borough. Other measures could also be put in place by retailers to prevent loss, such as coin deposit mechanisms or magnetic wheel braking. Section 6 of the report outlines a draft procedure, which essentially would be an online digital system whereby members of the public and our street cleansing team can report abandoned trolleys, and then we can notify the relevant retailers if they're in the voluntary scheme, or we can remove the trolley, taking time-stamped and location-stamped before and after photos, and then we have the right to invoice the relevant retailer, and it is a statutory debt which is recoverable. And finally, Section 7 outlines the financial impact of the scheme, including a proposed charge of £75 per trolley, which is well below the £150 to £200 cost to purchase a new trolley. And 2 papers were provided with this report, a draft consultation letter which would be sent to the relevant stakeholders in Appendix 1, and Appendix 2, a draft list of questions which would be circulated within the letter and as an online form that can be completed. We will welcome any comments on the proposal, and we seek member support in the instigation of a consultation with the relevant stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. Very sensible. Probably should have been introduced a lot earlier. But looking at, I've seen Councillor Ashenden and then Councillor Beattie. And I've seen 2 over this side. So, are you sure? Right. I hope so. Right. Councillor Ashenden.
Thank you. Yes, as it happens, this is one of the bugbears that really annoys me, is trolleys going everywhere. So I did a bit of research and I wondered if councils have outsourced this issue. And lo and behold, some councils have. The company they use is called Trolleywise. And the nearest one to us is Swale. And how Trolleywise work is it produces an app, and if somebody reports a trolley, it goes on their app and the app decides where it is, and it's paid for by the supermarkets. So it doesn't cost the council any money. Trolleywise pick up the trolleys and take them back. And so they've outsourced it. So whether it is effective, I don't know. I don't know whether we contact with Swell councillors, whatever, whether it is working. But on the looking at it, it seems a win-win really, because it don't cost the council any money or any time, and someone else is dealing with it, and the supermarkets are paying for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Joel, do you want to comment?
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Ashenden. Yes, but familiar with Trolleywise. Whenever street champions sign up, we share the link with them as a way to do it. I think it's certainly something we should promote and encourage residents to use. I use it myself. working at the depot, you see quite a few trolleys from Sainsbury's on Springhead Road. Mixed results. Sometimes the trolleys disappear very quickly. Sometimes they don't seem to get removed. But I have seen the trolley-wise van picking them up on Springhead Road before. I think one limitation of trolley-wise is they don't have arrangements in place with all retailers. So I don't think, I may be incorrect, but I believe it's Morrison's. They will not collect their trolleys, and potentially Asda. So they don't work with all retailers. So it's certainly something we could promote. But the proposal would account for any retailers not currently included using statutory powers. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tandy, first of all, and Councillor Scollard. Didn't know who.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Joel. I really do appreciate this coming forward, because I was walking here, I've seen 2 on the street. So, yeah, all I wanted to comment on was, when you do go out to retailers, please can we try and emphasise as much as possible for the lock breaking mechanism, because with the coinage aspect, a lot of people will just jam keys in and then they'll take the £1 out and they'll still take the trolley, or they just think £1 is much cheaper than taking an Uber or a taxi. So if we could really make sure to hound on that with them, that'd be great, because it's quite a nuisance, especially where I'm staying and seeing. So yeah, thank you.
And could I just ask, I mean, I highlighted this, what is mechanical wheel braking? What was lock braking? Sorry, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be, but my understanding is when the trolley reaches a certain distance from a set point, i.e. the supermarket, either it may be a magnetic trigger that stops the trolley moving any further. So you might get, for example, out onto the main road and then the trolley will just stop. So by fitting a simple device on one of the wheels, you could potentially prevent lots of trolleys from leaving the site. So we want to encourage that as much as possible. The ultimate aim of the proposal is to get the trolleys off the street and to improve the aesthetic of the borough. So anything we can do to encourage that before we have to get to the point of charging retailers, we will of course do.
Thank you. Life is a learning experience. Councillor Scollard.
Thank you, Chair. Very fantastic idea. 2 questions. If trolleys are dumped in rivers or lakes, do we still collect them? And the next one, if they're vandalised, i.e. broken, smashed up, do we do a service charge for that as well? Because I noticed on the report that for storage they have a cost for that as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for the questions. I mean, in terms of rivers and lakes, I don't think we've launched an amphibian cleansing service at the moment. So I mean, generally, yeah, we work on ground level and we wouldn't enter water. And I believe that would then trolleys, for example, pushed into the Thames or on the shoreline would fall to the PLA. I would have thought. But it's certainly something. And in terms of the second part about broken or smashed up trolleys, within the legislation, if the trolley is not claimed, and we can recover the debt, but we can dispose of the trolley if it's not claimed, essentially scrap the trolley and keep the proceeds. So yeah, I mean, that's the confusion I think at the moment. We get fly tipping reports from residents and phone calls about trolleys as a fly tip, as waste, but the trolleys are of course property of the supermarket. They're not actually a waste, so they're actually legally property. So that's why we want to clarify sort of the legal position on how we will treat trolleys. So we're not picking it up as waste, we're picking it up first and foremost to return it and return property and charging for the cost to do so.
Councillor Richards,
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Joel, for the presentation and the information. 3 weeks, not a huge number, but it's 3 too many, basically. I like the voluntary scheme. I think we need to make retailers very aware of that. It puts all the responsibility on them. It's their trolley. They know where it is. They need to collect it, and it keeps costs down for us. I think the £75 proposal is exactly the mid-range, exactly the right thing to do. So I fully support the paper. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? E.T.
Oh, sorry.
I'd just like to say that I think the idea of them voluntarily collecting it themselves is a perfect idea, because, of course, it's not the supermarket's fault that a customer's stolen their trolley effectively. That's what they've done. So it's not the supermarket that should get penalised almost as such for it. But yeah, that's just purely just that as an interjection.
I think a suggestion for the borough and yourselves as the council officers is to encourage them to have a fleet of trolleys that can't go outside the premises of their vicinity, because this would stop the whole thing completely. There are obviously supermarkets providers that use those types of trolleys, and they can't get further than their grounds. So that's really direct communication you should be having with every single supermarket or any other that use trolleys as a means to shop with. There you go. And then you wouldn't need this report completely.
I mean, that I suspect is these whatever, I can't pronounce it, wheel braking. Can I just ask a question? Is there any scrap value in these trolleys?
I couldn't give you a figure per trolley, and obviously the scrap value changes day to day. But we do deal with scrap metal that's collected as part of the bulky collection. So it is something we handle. So we would have the facility to be able to dispose of the trolleys as scrap if we had to. But of course, the main aim of the proposal is not for us to store them at our depot and have a depot full of trolleys. It's to actually directly return them, so that we sort of cut out the middleman, as it were, of returning them to the depot, then loading them back onto a van and driving them to the supermarket once it's been paid. We'd rather just return them, prove where we've picked it up from, that we've delivered it back to them, and then do the invoicing.
Yeah. Any other comments? I find this slightly interesting. Right. I assume, therefore, it's for noting, but to support. And I suggest the idea is, what I feel from a meeting is that a £75 charge is probably the most supported. Councillor Dibben.
I totally agree with the £75 charge, but can we put an emphasis in that report to encourage retailers within the borough to take the right type of trolleys, so then we don't have all this trolleys going over external outside of the sites where these trolleys exist.
Right.
Because that thing I think we can all agree on. That would solve a problem, wouldn't it?
I'm sure that can be noted in minutes. Thank you. All right. Now, agenda item 8, which is corporate service performance. Stuart and Mark. Who wants to take it?
Yeah, I'll start. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Thank you. So looking first at PI3, the percentage of compliant food establishments has remained pretty much constant at 94.9% for Q1. As can be seen from the graph, this is approximately equal to the median value across the past 2 years, so exactly where we would expect it to be. Just to remind members, a compliant food establishment is one which has been given a 3 or above on the National Food Hygiene Rating Scheme following inspection. And linked to this indicator, at the end of Q1, the team was slightly ahead of target, having completed 26.1%, equal to 100 premises of the 383 businesses scheduled for inspection this year. Looking just slightly further down the page at PI4, the licensing team issued 95% of valid taxi and private hire licence applications within the targeted 10 working days, still representing a very high level of service, and especially when considered against the backdrop of the other work undertaken in Q1, including designing and implementing the brand new street trading regime, agreeing UK shared prosperity funds to support businesses applying for pavement licences, processing some 190 applications across the whole range of licensing regimes, and carrying out a range of compliance and enforcement activities, as summarised in the contextual update. Would you like me to keep going, Chair, or pause for any questions?
Any questions? Please indicate. No, carry on.
Thank you. So over the page at PI5, the environmental protection team completed 334 cases in Q1. So an increase compared to their Q4 position, but certainly within the range of numbers that we can see over the past 2 years. And it remains an entirely unpredictable and uncontrollable number. In the same period, the team also received 338 new nuisance complaints and other service requests, 97% of which received a first response within their targeted 5 working days. The team also dealt with 69 planning application consultations, 56 temporary event notices, again with an impressive 100% turnaround for a 3-day statutory consultation period on those, as well as a range of animal activities licensing applications as set out in the contextual update.
Thank you. Any questions? Alan.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just noticed there is a comment about being short-staffed. How many short staff have you got? No, how many are you short of? I mean, sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Ridges. Well, I'm pleased to say, as of about 2.5 weeks' time, none. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Have you finished?
Yes, Chair. If I could hand over to Stuart for the moment, please. Thank you.
You're taking on from PI6.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so PI6 is percentage of household waste recycled. You'll see that the Q1 figure this year is slightly down on last year. Looking at the figures, we've attributed that to the nice, sunny, dry summer we've had, or spring and summer. So we're talking spring here, aren't we? Where, yeah, we've had quite a considerable drop in the amount of garden waste we've collected because obviously things haven't grown. So that has affected the percentage of household waste that's been recycled. On the other side, PI7, the positive there is the volume of residual waste per household has dropped on this quarter, and you'll see over the last 2 years that drop's been quite considerable, which is promising, which shows that the initiatives that we've got, such as the food waste campaign that we've run over the summer and other initiatives, are seeing people recycle more of their waste, which is really, really good. You'll see in the contextual update, there is a little bit in there about the food waste campaign that we ran over the summer, where we delivered caddies, put stickers on bins, and the plan is to bring an update on that and some figures, outcomes from that project to the next committee, just to keep members updated on how that went.
Thank you. I'm looking around for any. Yes, Councillor Ashton.
Yes, what I did notice, the campaign we had for getting people to use the food waste bins, there was a huge increase in the amount of curbside waste caddies ordered. 1,100 curbside waste caddies were ordered. And normally there's only 450 per month, and there was 1,100 ordered in 2 weeks. So the campaign certainly worked.
Yeah. From the caddies' point of view, it seems to have worked. We've got some really early data which has shown an increase in the amount of food waste that we collected. We're just waiting for the final data, and then we'll bring that to a full report to the next committee. So generally, it appears the campaign was a success.
Can I ask just 2 points? One is that I'm surprised the household waste recycling figures seem to be dropping when you're actually including glass in the waste. And just a comment on how successful is the reorganisation which started, I think, this week in terms of collection.
Thank you, Chair. I think, like I said before, I think it probably would have dropped more if we hadn't been collecting the glass. We've had quite a considerable drop in garden waste. And the other thing to take into account is that with extended producer responsibility, a lot of packaging is being made lighter. So obviously what we're collecting is lighter. So that will affect obviously the percentage as well. And this week, it's been a very traumatic week so far, shall I say? No, not quite. From the inside, it seems to have gone well. We had a couple of problems Monday and Tuesday when the crews were out in the rural areas learning their new rounds. The last couple of days have gone better. Most residents seem to have received the publicity that we put out around Facebook campaigns. We did a lot of work around Facebook, making sure things were shared on community groups, village groups. We contacted parish councils. We've done videos, boosted posts, sent 2 cards to every property. It was in your borough as well. So we've tried to reach everybody as much as possible. Most areas do appear to have got the right bin out on the right day, which is very, very encouraging. Obviously, we have had some people that hadn't. So hopefully next week, people will now know their new collection day and what bin to put out. And we will just continue to work through it. And the crew's been brilliant, learning new rounds. A lot of it's new to areas to a lot of the crews. They've been really, really good. And long may that continue.
Thank you. Any other comments? No? Right. Do you want to move on from PI 8?
Yes, so this one is around the removal of cleanliness reports completed in 5 working days. So we were at...
Sorry. I would. Apologies.
No problem. So you'll see we're still in the 90s, so better than Q1 last year, which is really, really good. Q1's a really busy period for us. With Easter collections, May bank holidays. So obviously we've got shorter weeks and more work to do. So it does have a little bit of an impact on the performance there, but it's still over 90%. You'll see in the contextual update that I've been involved in some discussions with the Ministry of Justice around probation service and the community payback projects. There's a lot of discussion there around how people can serve their sentences within the community. I was one of 7 or 8 authorities that were involved in that roundtable discussion, and we're hoping to have further discussions on how we can use community payback more to do works around street cleansing, graffiti removal, all of those sorts of projects. Not just around street cleansing. I have been discussions internally around cemeteries, allotments, parks, open spaces. So those sorts of projects as well. So those discussions do continue, and hopefully we can get a bit more resource from there, get people that have got sentences to serve them in the community and benefit the community.
Any comments? Can I just say it's worth councillors looking at the idea of community payback. I've certainly used it and on a number of projects, and it's been very, very effective, can I say. So many thanks. And thank you once again for the operatives and who are going through these changes. It's been very difficult for them, but they do seem to cope with good humour. Many thanks. Any other questions? Stuart, does that conclude the report? Back to Mark.
Thank you, Chair. Just to pick up on PI9, the total environmental enforcement actions taken shows that the team undertook 107 actions in Q1, ranging from community protection warnings and notices to the service of fixed penalty notices, and with 7 cases submitted for prosecution. The reference to staffing in that contextual report, I can provide an update on that and say that we filled the 2 vacant streets enforcement officer posts earlier than expected, which is enabling the team to carry out more investigations and may well yield even more enforcement action to further deter would-be offenders from fly tipping and committing other waste offences in our borough. Thank you.
The performance indicator says that, it's 100%. And there's a contextual update, which gives an update on that service.
Thank you, colleagues. So I assume this is a note-in. So we do so, and let's move on then to agenda item 9, corporate registers of partnerships. Stuart.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, I'll cover the first one, which is the Kent Resource Partnership, which the partnership has been around for many years. And for those of you that don't know, it is a partnership of all the district council, borough and district council across Kent and the county council as well, with the aim of improving recycling, ensuring compliance around simple recycling legislation, and most importantly under legislation, putting together a waste strategy. If we didn't have the partnership, we'd have to put our own waste strategy together. The current waste strategy is under review and currently being rewritten. There has been a delay in rewriting it, but that has been because of waiting for central government over the last 2 or 3 years to finalise the legislation around simpler recycling, which is obviously now done. So we're working towards that, bringing things forward for the circular economy. And one of my big things as well is pushing more reuse. Let's get things reused, repaired, etc., before it ends up being collected by us or charities. So the council contributes £15,000 a year. To put that into context, the food waste campaign that we've just done over the summer costs more than £15,000. So you could say that we've had our monies back already on this year's, and there's minimal officer time from myself and Joel on this as well.
No questions. Move on.
So the next one is the Natural Nature Reserve. God, that's a bigger one after a couple of drinks, wasn't it? Yes. So I take it that members have read this and whether they have any questions.
Back to me, Chair. Thank you. So looking at the licensing shared service, the key aim is to provide a high quality and value for money service that provides added resilience, expanded knowledge and specialist skills, delivery of best practice and enhanced digital services to meet the needs of customers, as well as to support our local economies and fulfilment of statutory duties, of which there are many. It's been in place since the 1st of January 2019, and so a little over 6.5 years now. And it's continued to go from strength to strength and delivers a progressive service, leading the way in its digital processes in partnership with our business applications and digital teams. The shared service runs really smoothly and with very positive feedback often being received from members and senior management from both authorities. And I always like to highlight my pride in that in particular, in light of it remaining the council's only Gravesham-led shared service. Okay, thank you. So if I can move on to the Kent and Medway Air Quality Partnership. It's effectively a non-statutory officer group, albeit one that's recognised by DEFRA as being best practice. Consists of representatives from all local authorities in Kent, as well as from partner agencies, including from the Environment Agency, National Highways, KCC, and the UK Health Security Agency, and our data management contractor, Ricardo. There are no financial implications associated with the partnership in itself. Gravesham pays a contribution for management of our continuous and passive air quality monitoring data, which remains cost effective as a result of the contract being jointly procured through the Kent and Medway Air Quality Partnership, which in effect, therefore, realises a saving in comparison to individual data management contracts if we were to go out to tender by ourselves. Other benefits of the group include data sharing of information and best practice, and joint communication and promotion opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? I do remember this partnership over many, many years, and it has brought very significant benefits to this borough over that period of time when air quality issues were largely frowned upon, can I say. But I'm very grateful for all the work that's been carried out over many years on that. Right, thank you, Mark. Is that the end? Okay.
Yes, I think that's the end, Chair. Thank you.
So I think that brings us back. That was for information only. So that then brings us back to the main agenda. Agenda item, there's no any other business. There's no reason 11 to exclude any members of the public. There's no items to be considered in private. Therefore, I will bring this meeting to a close. Can I say once again how grateful I am for you turning up? And yep, it's once again been an interesting meeting, as these meetings do tend to be. Thank you.